Hello. Snowpiercer Season 4, Episode 3, Life Source, feels like the true beginning of the final season. The show's first episode on AMC was a catch-up to re-establish the world and characters, and the second felt like deleted scenes. But Episode 3 could stand alone. It's still far from perfect, but at least now fans have some idea of where Season 4 is going. The term Life Source appears to be derived from the Bennett and Till B story, in which Milius enlists them to work on a unique project that will supposedly significantly increase food supply. That the goal isn't all that it seems, though, is understandable. Leighton, in the meantime, takes drastic measures in the hopes of saving his daughter. Although both storylines have their shortcomings, they ultimately result in the reunion of the split TV show. It was inevitable that Snowpiercer Season 4 would begin with a dual storyline, considering how Season 3 concluded. The show needed to follow both the people who left for New Eden and the people who stayed on Snowpiercer. But it's incredibly challenging to maintain a TV show that way for a lengthy period of time from a logistical perspective. Characters, in addition to dividing their attention, can engage with characters outside their half of the plot. This issue is resolved in two ways in Season 4, Episode 3. First, by having Leighton really run off in search of his daughter Liana, and second, by elucidating to viewers the relationship between the two storylines. On the first count, viewers were aware that a rescue mission was imminent the minute Liana vanished. Apart from the obvious emotional stakes for Leighton, there would be no story sense to having her taken if someone wasn't going to bring her back. How would it happen? Life Source answers that it's about more than Leighton. He needs to use Big Alice, which also powers New Eden, in order to catch up to Snowpiercer in a timely manner. The lives of the entire group are once again in Leighton's hands, but this time he responds very differently. However, that choice also makes sense in the grand scheme of things. Keeping some characters behind allows the authors to conveniently set aside supporting individuals they might not need for a while bringing the key characters from the New Eden section of the program closer to the rest of the main group. However, as Leighton has just 3 weeks left to return with Big Alice before New Eden runs out of electricity, the entire season is now on the line. In the remaining portion of Episode 3, Ben and Till discover that Big Alice was the target of the trap that the Animal Squad set with their rocket launch, not Snowpiercer. As a result, viewers are immediately filled with dread since they know Big Alice is moving towards Snowpiercer, which puts the merciless Admiral Anton Milius in a strong position. The only redeeming quality of the entire episode is the dialogue, which verifies Audrey's survival even though Lena Hall's character appeared to be extremely close to passing away in Episode 2. Andre Leighton's best hour in Snowpiercer Season 4 Episode 3 is not his best, as the script overplays his emotional breakdown. Leighton's desperation to save Liana is quite natural, and it makes perfect sense that this would make him a mess. That would make any parent furious and devastated. However, Life Source strikes that point so frequently that it gets annoying. In fact, it strikes so strongly that Leighton becomes a bully for the majority of the episode, regardless of what Yavi says. Without my daughter, New Eden is meaningless to me. Important moments include Leighton and Ruth Wardell debating whether or not to utilize Big Alice, and Leighton's girlfriend Josie Wellstead telling him she no longer knows who he is. Josie needs to be the one to reassure Leighton that he is not the only one going through this. She was with Zara when the other woman passed away and was requested in particular to look after Liana. However, the viewer grows weary of Leighton because so many of his scenes involve him ranting at or interrupting people. They are monotonous. One of his best exchanges is with Yavi when the latter is trying to get Leighton to take Big Alice. Leighton is often yelling at him. Times when TV characters have intense emotional moments are called bursts of intensity. If the character stays at that elevated level forever, then the feeling becomes less powerful. Snowpiercer's forced demeanor just makes things worse for Leighton. Almost anything can make him snap at everyone, sometimes before they stand their ground. Instead of having Leighton storm about alienating a bunch of people for an hour in Season 3, Episode 4, it would have been far better to let him have one or two significant blow-ups, like the excruciating encounter between him and Josie. The sequence where he tries to persuade the New Eden group to let him borrow Big Alice, which could have been his most moving moment, turns out to be the least dramatic portion of the entire program. Not only does Leighton remain silent, but Snowpiercer fails to display the vote at all. This episode's